Hello guys, today what I'm going to do is a deep dive into different ways of adding lighting to your props. So we have a spotlight, a table lamp, a vehicle for the headlights, a brazier and a torch, and each of those is going to have different types of lighting. So we're going to start with the vehicle. So you can imagine that with a vehicle at night that you want the headlights to shine. This is going to be a simple version. I'm not going to worry about shaping the lights, but as you can probably imagine, what we want to do first of all is create a spotlight. And this spotlight here that I just brought into the scene, I want to make it more visible when I'm working with it. So what I'm going to do is go into the display menu, choose object style, flat shaded, and now the spotlight becomes a single color and a solid color, so it's a lot easier to say. Oh my goodness, what have I just done there? Okay, so the first thing I want to do is turn this spotlight so it's kind of facing more towards us. So I'm going to rotate it in X by 180 degrees. Okay, so now it's facing straight kind of towards us, but not very realistically at the ground. I've done quick keys for my camera, so I'm going to press T for top, and as you can see, it's a long way in front of the vehicle, so I'm just going to slide that back and until it's just in front of the headlights. M for main for my cameras, and I'm going to lower that light. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not doing anything precise, and I'm going to move that across. So there's my spotlight. So I want to aim it at the ground kind of here. So this is a left-hand drive, and let me just make sure. Yep. I want to make sure I was looking at it from the front. So a left-hand drive, so that means that the lights in the headlamps in the left-hand drive face away from the center of the road because you don't want to blind the other people, and face towards the the footpath or the sidewalk. So I'm just going to slightly rotate that in Y, and I'm also going to dip it towards the road a little bit in X. There you go. Okay, so now it's kind of a bit out of the housing, so I'm going to lower that down. Now, in an ideal situation, I'd reduce the scale of this light and bury it inside this housing, but the housing's not fully modeled, so it's not going to work. So I'm just going to kind of put this here. Now you see this light cone here. That's described here by the angled start and end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce that end to 50. So that is a literal angle, 50 degrees. And I'm going to increase the intensity of that light to 300, so it's nice and bright. I'm also going to name the light headlight right hand side from the driver's point of view. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to here, duplicate headlight right. And if we look in the hierarchy window, which is here, you'll see that I've got nothing because I need to turn lights visible here. So headlight right 1. So I'm just going to change that to headlight left. And I'm going to move the left headlight over to the correct place. In reality, these don't perfectly face the same angle, but I'm just going to keep it simple for now. So let me just render that scene. I've got daylight on at the moment. Okay, so we can see that shining quite nicely there. Now, this is a strange model because it didn't come with the option to turn lights on, but the cabin is illuminated transparency or illuminated glass, which I've not seen before. It's a nice idea. I don't know why they didn't offer the option for the lights as well. Right, I'm just going to turn the sky off so we get a bit more obvious. There you go. And when I render that, you can see that's looking quite nice. The cycles is giving some bounce on the edge, physically correct as well. I'm just going to turn that back on. Going to go back to these lights. Incidentally, you can grab the actual lights and turn the proxies to invisible, but so long as they're still on, they still shine in the scene. So what I'm going to do here, I have my scene, I've got my Dodge Ram here. and I have my two headlights. So I'm going to grab both of those headlights, shift control, and I'm going to drag them onto truck. You can't often link onto the container object, the root object. So I've dragged them onto truck. What does that do? Well, I'm sounding like a flipping lawyer. That means that now they are children of that vehicle. So, oh, why is that up in here? Okay, and wherever that vehicle points, the lights now point exactly the same angle relative to the front. So that's great. Now let me just show you one more refinement, and that the reason why I made those proxies invisible, even though they don't render properly. What I want to do is when I render this, you'll see unrealistically there's light in the front but nothing shining here. So if I click on this, first thing I could do is make that invisible, and inside is the reflector object. I could try and bury a light inside there to reflect, but in actual fact it's more trouble than it's worth, and I'll show you why. So I grab this diffuser from the top, go to the material room, and headlight glass, you'll see that it doesn't really have a transparency map. So what we're going to do is we're going to lose that nice map that they put over the top, which we're going to lose anyway for what I'm going to do. But if we're going to lose it, we might as well do it this way, which is more effective. So I'm going to click on ambient color, and I'm now going to choose a light yellow color. Okay, what did I go into there? Hold up. I'm going to do it here. Right, light yellow. I didn't really need to give that a color, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it an ambient value of 3. Anything over an ambient value of 1 washes out whatever color you chose anyway. So, oh, I know why I went into there, because I want to add this color to my custom colors. So you'll notice now that that applies to one of the lights. I have lost that nice diffuser, but when it's bright, you don't see that so much. What I could do is go into Photoshop and turn that diffuser into a grayscale so that it acts as a transparency map, and you get a bit more texture on this. Can't be bothered right now, but you get the idea. Right, okay, so choose the other one. I like the fact that the creator of this Dodge Ram has given you the option to do each of these separately. I could choose this light to select the entire material, copy it by right click there, and then go to the other light, and then just copy and just replace everything there. But I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to manually, so I'm going to click on the color, and I'm going to pick up the custom color that I created, and I'm going to dial in that value of 3 again. Right, so now look at how beautiful that looks. So now we have this diffuser is self-illuminated, and it's illuminating that housing as well. And if I move back, you can see the lights there. Now I've got one more little trick to show you. You're going to like this. Okay, so I'm going to turn my skylight off, but I'm going to go into my material room. Imagine now that we're on a country road, and I'm going to select atmosphere, and I've already set up a fog atmosphere. All I need to do is turn volume on, go back to my scene, imagine trees on either side of this road. Look how beautiful that looks, how spooky that looks. I could turn these up. Oops, a daisy. Oops, I've gone into animation mode for some reason. I could turn these up more, so it's, fog lights, or I can make them blue or whatever color. But doesn't that look spooky and interesting? It's easy enough to do the headlights and link them to the vehicle, but to give it some texture, in fact, they do need a bit more brightness, don't they? So let's go into lights, headlight right, and I'm going to turn that up to intensity, let's say 700. It's probably way too much, but I don't care. Right, headlight left, 700 again. Let's render that one more time, so it gives a bit more penetration in the fog. Obviously, I'm rendering on a very low. Oh, doesn't that look nice? There you go. And again, I would probably mess about with the global illumination so that these points of light are a bit brighter. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn those lights off completely. Headlight right, headlight left, headlight right, and I'm going to turn the atmosphere off because I want to show you the next thing. So atmosphere, and I'm just going to turn the volume off so now it renders clear, and I'm going to turn our skylight back on so we can see what we're doing. Poser really needs to have a camera light like they have in DAS, so it's easier to just have a light for a working light. So now I'm going to do, what should we do next? Okay, I'll do the I must stop making videos really late at night. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this bedside lamp. So as you can imagine for this, I'm not really going to use a directional light. It doesn't make sense. You know, if you think of a light bulb in your house, it's not directional. It's omnidirectional or a point light. So I want to show you something cool here. When I selected that object, the light automatically spawns in front of it. If I create this, the light spawns in front of that. So it's a nice time saver. If you're moving around your scene, you don't need to wonder where your lights are. All you know is that there's Z plus somewhere in front of them, and then you can just move your light backwards. So again, I'm going to make that obvious, that visible. So display, object style, flat shaded, and I'm going to go into my top camera. I'm going to move that until it's where the light bulb is. Then I'm going to go front camera. And this time I'm going to use this little object here, which is frame selected. So rather than zooming across here or scrolling across, if I do frame selected, my light is already selected. So I click that and it just jumps to where the light is. Really nice little trick. And I'm just going to lift that up until it's roughly where I think the bulb is. Bulb. Right. M for my main camera. Let's have a little look. There you go. Frame selected again. So the light I've got here, the point light is larger than the bulb, which is great when I'm doing this. And what I'm going to do this time, this is going to be some evening ambient. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this bulb color to kind of a yellowy orange color here. And then I'm going to go into the material room and I'm going to add that to custom colors, replace the other one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bulb that's inside. So let me select this object, lampshade. I want bulb. For some reason, they put all kinds of crap on this bulb. No ambience, but sphere maps and refraction and all sorts of things, which you're not going to see unless you look down inside here. It was a bit odd, really. Anyway, and then they made it transparent, so kind of pointless. Right, anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it an ambient color, the same as the light. I'm going to turn the ambience up to, let's say, 0.5. So that's going to give it some ambient mood. I can just do a test render from the material room here. So that's casting inside there. Now, there's two ways that light shades can be. So we can have various degrees of transparent, such as a paper lampshade, or you can have opaque, so no light shines through it. So imagine that this is meant to be an up and down light. So you don't want light in your eyes, you just want light to illuminate the wall and the bedside cabinet. But I prefer this to be more of a paper light because I think it gives it a paper lampshade because it gives it a bit more atmosphere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the material room, lampshade. I'm going to give that some transparency, so how much we're going to go about 0.3, and I'm also going to give it some ambience again, same color as before, and I'm going to go 0.3 on that as well because I don't really, in fact I'm going to go 0.2. I don't want it to blow out the lights inside, but I just want it to have some natural glow of its own. Give that a little look. And there you go. What a beautiful light. Got a really nice atmosphere there. Let me turn off my skylight. Now render that in a dark room. And that's great. That will illuminate your wall. You can see through if I'm moving close. You can see through and see that bulb. So I think I'm rendering on the default of 10 samples, maybe 5. I usually turn it down to 5, but the preset is 10. Yeah, the preset is 10. So there. Right, one more little detail I'm going to do here. I'm just going to turn that skylight back on so as I can see. This base here is some kind of brushed metal, but because I'm a bad boy, I'm going to change that for chrome. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to load Vince Bagner's lovely super shaders, and I'm going to go into metals. I've got 3 types of chrome here, a bumpy chrome, a shaded chrome, and an ordinary silver. I'm going to choose silver. And when you double click from here into a scene that has multiple materials, it gives you the choice what to apply it to. The alternative here that I could do is that I could drag that from the window, the materials, and just drop it on the part that I want it to apply to. Now, because it's Superfly, it's not going to show up properly here, but when I render it, it's just going to give a little bit more interest to that shade. See, you can see now that the base is reflecting. Doesn't that look nice? So that's using a point light on a lamp. Now what we're going to do, oh my goodness, sorry, I should have just gone straight there. We have a torch. This character's carrying a torch. The torch is parented to her hand, so wherever she goes, the torch goes. I could animate this arm. Now this torch is a best case scenario for creating a light because it has a bulb inside and it has a light in the glass in front. So again, because it's a torch, we're going to create a spot. And if you remember from before, the spot is created in front. So I'm going to do display, object style, flat shaded so that I can see my light. Move that light backwards, and I'm actually going to parent that to the torch now because I'm not sure if it's going to change scale when I do that. So that light is going to be flashlight. Oh, just to keep it clean, I'm going to call that light a lamp light, so I can easily see what's going on. So flashlight is going to be a child of this light, which is a child of her. So Victoria, holding down Alt, when I click on this, it opens up all the levels. And flashlight, the light is going to go up to, now let me just show you a little tip here, because this is when you open up everything, it shows all of these annoying deformers here. So if you just want it simplified so it's body parts, just click off show deformers. And I'm going to drag flashlight. Where's her hand? Okay, I'm going to shut this tree down. There's flashlight. So I'm going to drag the light onto the object called flashlight. And okay, so that didn't change its scale. That's nice. So now when I change the scale of this, it's not going to do anything weird. And top view, zoom in, or I could frame it here. I'm going to move that in Z. Okay, this is, I've gone a bit too, oh, okay, I've gone past it, that's right. Z or Z for you weird people. F for front view, frame again. And I've lost it. I have lost it. Flashlight, flashlight, flashlight. Oh, it was inside. So I'm going to put that right in the middle of that flashlight. M for main camera. I've redefined my keys. And I need to face that outwards, so I'm going to do a 180-degree rotate. And you can see the effect there. Let's give that a 500 brightness intensity. I'm going to leave that nice and wide. You'll notice here that the flashlight has a focus ring around the outside, so you can change the focus. Let's just give that a render first of all to see how that looks. Okay, I need to turn off the skylight so it's a bit clearer. Okay, what I'm trying to do is get this diffuser to light as well. Now, there's another way that I can do that. Turn my sky back on. Inside is a material called bulb, which you recall for, hold up, let me just try pushing this forwards a bit. The trouble with the spotlight is it doesn't have much lateral light scatter. Right, just want to go, I can never work out whether it's the back or the front where the light is actually shining from. I'm assuming it's the front. So I'm just going to move that back inside there a bit, just behind the glass. Let's render that again. Okay, so now the what do you call it? The reflector is starting to light up. That's starting to look quite nice. And one final detail, if I select the flashlight, I'm sure you can guess what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose the bulb and I'm going to give that ambience. So I'm going to go 5, make it really bright, and the color I might as well do white because when it's that bright, it doesn't matter what color I do. Right. And beautiful. How good does that look? So let's just turn the other lights off a second. So let's turn sky is already off, I believe. No, it's not. Okay, that might be enough to make it obvious then. I don't think the lamp light is really, there you go, beautiful. The lamp wasn't really drowning the scene out. Okay, now let's do another one. Let's turn sky back on. Now for this one, I'm cheating. I'll tell you straight away. This object already came pre-rigged. It's a torch, maybe a dungeon torch or a pirate's torch. I think it's actually called pirate torch. And it has a light when I render it, a flame rather. So flames are really nice objects. They add some interest to your scene. See here, they've used some transparency map to give some transparent areas, but it's not illuminating. And I cheated here so that I'd have something to do. I'm just going to choose flame, and I actually turned, it already had ambience and it's already rigged with a transparency map. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn that ambience on so you can decide what color you want. I'm going to go with a kind of an orange, which I think it was originally. Turn the value up to 1, and now you have a torch that's got some real flame brightness to it. Okay, the last thing, again using ambience, this time it's a brazier. So this is a brazier. It did come rigged with ambience, but it looks awful. So I'm just going to show you a little trick here, which you can apply to anything that you want to do. So this brazier has an outside cold and an inside cold, and it has ambience, but it never had the ambience turned on. I don't know why, maybe it was an oversight or whatever, but if I just turn these on first of all, so you can see what we're working with. So this is really an old school prop and it doesn't really look all that good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the outer and I'm going to give it a texture. Let's see. actually I'm going to give the ambient color a texture. Let's see how that works out. So new 2D textures, and where do I need to go? I need to go there. And I need okay, come on, it's called hot coals. There we go. Hot coals. I'm just going to wire that in to a white ambient color. So the color's not affecting the ambient color's not affecting the color of the coals. And then I'm going to do another little trick here. Let's just give that a render first of all. Okay, why did that not work? Maybe I attach it to the inside coals instead. Let me have a look. Brazier outer. Nope, added that to the right place. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing, add it to the inner. Just going to copy that, go to coals inner, and paste. Wire that in here. Ambient value 1, color white. Ambient value 1, yes, okay. Let's see how that looks. I think the outer's got transparency on it now, I think about it. How's that looking? Well, it certainly looks better there. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that outer entirely. Okay, let's see how that is. Okay, that's good. I'm actually going to turn the ambience level up here because I want that to glow more. I could create some kind of transmat to limit the glow only to the red bits. I'm not going to go that far right now, but I am going to turn that up. Okay, that's looking interesting, but doesn't that look flat? So one more little trick. I'm going to take those and I'm going to convert them into black and white. So I'm going to take a math node and I'm going to take a HSV. So if we look here, we can see those coals here. They're probably a bit big actually. I probably could scale them down. So I'm going to plug them into color. Then I'm going to reduce the saturation to 0, which will give me a grayscale map here. And then I'm going to plug that grayscale into the displacement. And I'm actually going to change the repeat here. So the scale 0.1, no, probably a bit too small, 0.5, let's say. 0.5, 0.5, so it'll have 2 repeats in each axis now, and it's wired into displacement, probably displacing too much to start with, but we'll have a look. Oh no, that's even smaller, and right, the displacement's not going to be visible because the resolution of the coals is too small. Okay, so the way to fix that is to go up to subdivision levels and turn that up a few. That can have a softening effect, but in this particular case, on the yes, in this particular case, it appears not to. So let's try rendering that now. Okay, yes, as I suspected, displaced way too much. Also, I could run this through some kind of levels filter to kind of soften it off a bit so that I get better control of that grayscale map. Or of course I could go into Photoshop and do it manually and get an even more precise map. Okay, so I think you'll agree that that's considerably better than what they gave us. That was theirs. That's mine. I've actually, to be honest, I tweaked this more myself, so I'm just going to go away and load this. I'll be back in a second. I just wanted to see what I did originally. Here's the one that I saved in case I did anything clever. Let's just render that. No, I didn't actually. That's exactly what I just showed you there. So there you go then, guys. So that's 5 ways of using lighting. We've got ambient with a transparency map. We've got spotlights with an atmosphere. We've got point light and an ambient lampshade with transparency to give the lampshade some transparency. And we have a spotlight with an ambient bulb. And one more thing I'm going to do just for the lols is I'm just going to turn that atmosphere back on and see what it's like with everything. Okay, so the ambient lights tend not to shine through fog. As you can see, that is one of the problems with ambient, that they don't behave in a physically correct way, whereas you see spotlights kind of penetrate the fog a bit more. Anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that. I will speak to you again next time.